Hello traders, hope you're having a great weekend. I know some of you might have time during the weekend to watch some of these webinars and you would like to keep yourself updated. So I'm going to give you very quick in the next 10-15 minutes. I'm going to show you all the dollar pairs, what dollar is doing and what all the other pairs are doing that you trade in dollar, all the major pairs. The full daily webinar, which is going to be your weekly outlook, will be out tomorrow. So you guys can watch that as well. And if you have missed some of my previous very good webinars, you should go watch them. Good afternoon, traders. My name is Anil Mangal. For those who don't know me, I think quite a lot of you out there already know me. You've been following with my channel and you're giving some good views and some good comments and pretty much liking it. You can still share it as much as you want. More traders will get access to it. So just before I start, it's going to take about 15 minutes to do. So just before I start, let me tell you about a trading group we're running. We have a course starting on Monday. I've already mentioned this. If you want to join us, you should join us. So what do you get when you join the course? You get 6 weeks of training. That is only knowledge. You get live access, live training session and live trading session that we do after you finish the training course. You get live trading sessions 5 times a day, sometimes more. You get access to the group we're in, which is a workplace. You get access to communicate with the other traders, ask questions, everything. There's a whole lot of things you can do in there. While you're there, you get 24/7 access. All of that is free. All you have to do is pay for the course once. So you pay once and everything is free for the rest of your life. Now, I'm not a true believer that you should charge people a monthly subscription until, forever. Literally, when somebody sell you a course, and then they said, hey, you have to pay monthly subscriptions to stay with me. What they're saying to you is that I want you to run the opposite direction. We tell you, you pay for the course and we will keep you here for life for free. Because we know that if you buy a course, you're not going to be successful. There's not a single course you're going to buy there about trading or anything else that is going to make you successful in that field. All you're going to get is a set of videos that are going to be useless to you because you would not know how to actually implement what you just learned. So we give you the knowledge, then we take you, put you, and let you practice it, let you show us how you understand what we just taught you. We correct what mistakes you make because you are going to make mistakes. And then we say, okay, come trade with us. Come see how we implement the knowledge we gave you on a daily basis, 5 times a day. So we take a trade, we show you the strategy, we taught you how to use it. We show you how to analyze the chart. We show you what are the risk factors. We tell you how to put your money management. We tell you where we think the trade is going to go. We tell you where your stop should be. And we tell you, well, if the trade doesn't go, this is what you do. Step by step, every single thing you need to know. And we keep you here for life because we know when you get successful, we want you to help the other new traders that are coming. So let's say I'm sick for a month and I've been sick many, many times during this time that I'm doing this course. The trading room runs every single day. With or without me, the trading room runs every day. Why? Because we want the successful traders to stay on and help the traders who are struggling. We keep getting traders who join us almost on a daily basis. Let's say for the last 2 months, there have been quite a lot of people who joined the installment program, a lot of them who joined for the training course, as well as quite a lot who joined the installment program. What is the installment program? You pay from $100 up, anything above $100 per month, and that money goes to save up for you for the course. Let's say you can't afford the course in 1 payment. Some traders do it in 5 payments, some do it in 10, some do it in 2. We collect that money and we save it up. When you get the full sum, we put you in the group. So what do you do while you're paying? Well, we give you access to the live room. We give you access twice daily. You get to join us in the New York session. You get to join us in the London session. So you still get help to trade with us live while you're paying for your course. You don't get that anywhere else. Nowhere else do you get that. What we give you is free. You are not paying for that. You're getting it free. You're paying for the course. But while you're paying for the course, we still allow you to join us. And you get the recording of the daily webinar, which is a full recording of everything we do. Now, that's what we do as a trading group, one of the best in the world. I don't think there's a second to it. There's not a second to what we do. So you may want to join us. You want to test it? Pay for a month and test it. I mean, what is $100 do if you're a trader? Really, if you're a trader, pay $100, you will get, let me see how much. 5 2 is 10, 10 4 is 40. You're going to get 40 live sessions and 20 recordings. All for $100. And if you continue, that $100 is going to go towards the payment of your course. So if you continue, you're not going to lose the $100. It's going to go towards the payment of your course. If you don't continue, if you don't like it, great. Well, there are traders who had taken the installment before and stopped it for different reasons. They're all coming back now. Well, we didn't have, to be honest, we didn't have the live sessions before. Now that we've had the live sessions, a lot of them have came back. At least 5 of them are returning. 5 of over 10 of them that actually stopped it. Right? People stopped it for different reasons. They weren't getting enough encouragement. They weren't getting enough benefit from the recording alone. It wasn't helping them that much. But now that they're getting the live session, that has really changed. I can read you one of the messages I just got. Let me go to that very, very quick. And the guy said, yes, good evening, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to continue my installment course. The first installment after the 3 months he stopped. And then he said, you know, I'm going to continue because I joined you this week in the live session, and it is amazing. It changes everything for me. Right? And he continued basically explaining why he stopped and that. I mean, we all know it's pretty much a lot of stuff to say that, hey, you're great. We want to join your game. Please let me in. But you're welcome. You didn't have to say all of that. You're welcome. So let's go. Let's start. I'm going to be really, really quick here. Dollar index. We told you the dollar index. If you go back and look at some of my webinars, you will see that I said, when you do this, you do this. So here's the question. Are we ready for this? The mere fact that the dollar index dropped a little here does not mean anything. Now, here is the thing where we are different from what you heard out there. There are a lot of people there who were bullish on the dollar. I don't like to use the word bullish or bearish because the same people who are buying from you, the same people selling to you. So they're not bears or bulls. They're pretty much trying to make money from you, basically, right? So he was bullish, and he kind of repeated 3 times, like, I'm telling you again and again and again that I'm bullish on the dollar, so you should be bullish on the dollar, which means I'm thinking, well, if you shout to the market is not going to react, right? The market does not react to where if I screen at it, hey, go up, go up, go up. It's not going to go up, right? The market is going to do what the market does, and you have to understand what it's doing, follow the patterns, and if you get it right, you take advantage of it. If you're wrong about it, then just say, hey, well, it didn't go the way I expected, but I am not in the trade. That's the whole point, right? If it doesn't go the way you expected, then you shouldn't be in the trade. You should be in the trade if it goes the way you expected, and a lot of trades went the way we expected this week. Enormous amount of them, including during the news. So, is this ready for a drop? Well, here, let's look across this over. See this? See that sharp drop? You see this sharp drop? They still went up back. Nobody says this can't go back up. But what if it consolidates? What would be the criteria for the downside? Let's go to the 1 hour. What will be the criteria for the start of the downside? We know it's going to go down, right? On the big picture, I've already given you that forecast that it will go down. The mere fact that I don't think it's ready to go down is because of this depth of this pullback. When they pull back so deep, we always think flat patterns. Now, can a flat pattern break through out of the pattern and go back up? The answer is yes, it can do that. So we're going to only start selling this if we get a confirmation that it's going down. A lot of traders like to ask me, what confirmation? Very simple. This is a confirmation for up. 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 So if we get this, we're getting the confirmation for down. Now that is easy, right? You may say, well, what the hell should I pay you? I can see that. I can do that on my own. The reality is you can't. That's the reality. You can't, because you don't know all the criteria of what pattern should be. What is a changing pattern? What is a corrective structure? What is a pattern going to turn? There's so much more I can go on with, right? I have traders. I've been training traders for years. So I know when you see something and when you can't see it. So if we get the corrective structure, we will be trading down. Go to the 4 hour. And if we get a 4 hour correction, we will be trading down. But if we don't get a 4 hour correction, the higher probability is that this could go back up. So if we get an impulse and a flag here, we're buying. You wait for the market to tell you what it is going to do, and then you take advantage of that. You don't determine what the market will do. You can't tell the market what to do. Right? If you're bullish, doesn't mean anything. If I'm bearish, doesn't mean anything. The market is not going to work the way I want it to work. It's going to do what it's doing. My job is not to tell it what to do. My job is to see what it's doing and take advantage of that. So I'm going to show you a few more of these pairs, but I'm going to show you mostly in the long term because I'm going to bring out the 1 hour trade setups tomorrow on all the pairs, my weekly outlook. So you can see this one already. This is what we call a flat pattern, which means on a probability scale, this is about 95% of coming back down here. 95%. I think one trader today, Friday, we had a Q&A session and one trader asked me, how do you do this percentage? And how could that, when would that percentage change? So when you look at a pattern like this, we told you this was, you look at this and it's pretty much flat. So there's a 95% of it coming back down in a flat shape. Well, what would change that? What would flip that 95% for the upside? If at this level we start to correct. If we start to correct above there, we're going to say, well, that just flipped. You have about a 90% up and a 10% down. Can it do this, break the top and still come down? That is also possible. And that is why we leave the 10%, that this is the possibility of it coming back down here, right? There's no 100% in one direction. But if I show you the chart on the daily, and this is what it looks like, I want you to tell me what you think is likely. You can put this in the comment. I'm just going to draw, and I'll leave you to tell me the direction you think it's going to go in the comments. So we went up really strong like this. We dropped really strong, and they kind of went up slow like this, but then they dropped, right? You see this? That's a big one. Then they drop. Then they make a small one like this. And a few small ones here, right? You can see that they drop. Then you get this big one here. And this is why I said you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see this as a thing of falling, but we saw it as dropping. It dropped, it made a small one here, dropped, and you're doing this now. Let's look at these two. And tell me on a probability scale, what is, if you are looking at those two and you're looking at the way it behaves, came down, what are the chances of this coming back here? You can put your answer in the comment. Tell me what you think of the probability of this coming down. Let's see if you understand anything about wave analysis and pattern, but leave at least 10% of it going up. Because if it consolidates at the top, that will change. Now, this is really, really rare. If this actually don't come down, but go back up, that would be extremely rare pattern. Because I haven't seen one of that in my entire career trading as yet. This would be the first time. If this takes off like a rocket, this would be the first time that I've seen not one, but two deep pullback before it goes. I've seen one deep pullback and it goes. I haven't seen two deep pullback and it goes. Two separate deep pullback before it goes. And structurally, it's not looking upside. So let's see, am I going to see something new or is it going to come down? And let's look at gold. Remember what I told you. If you look at my forecast, big forecast on gold, I told you when it comes to the top here, and it's going to come back here because we're looking for a flat. And then I told you it's going to go back up. So you may say, well, wait, you had the upside. You're pretty much right about it. Look, why are you saying this is not going to go back yet? It will go up, but I'm not sure it's this one. And the reason is the same here. This had a pretty deep pullback that didn't break the low. We look at that as an impulse, a correction of that impulse, which is deep, and another impulse. A 95% chance of this actually going down. There's only a 5% chance of this going up when this pullback is so deep. Very much, although my bigger forecast is upside, I don't think it's ready to go. But what would change that? Again, what would change that probability to the upside? As soon as this starts to consolidate here, and I see this consolidation, we're upside. That flips the whole probability to 95% up and 5% that they will still make that low. So it's either going to drop now or it's going to consolidate and go. How would you differentiate whether it's dropping or consolidating? How many of you could really look at the chart and say, I think it's dropping or I think it's consolidating? And when would you know that you're correct about that? And this is where you get 5 daily updates to tell you which one it's doing. Join us and we'll show you how we identify that and how you would know what you're doing. Let me show you another one, not that one, sorry. Let me show you the euro. Now the euro, remember, I don't know if you watched my last week channel, last week webinar, but I show you this channel. And I told you channel like these normally break to the upside. Which you would say, well, you're correct about it. Look, it's breaking out. And I would say, well, yes, you got me there. I'm correct about it. But I'm not sure, again, that this is the one. Because this is not how I was expecting the breakout to happen. I was expecting this breakout, if it was going to be a breakout, to consolidate in this range and then go. Last week, if you remember, you joined, we've had this arrow that this is going to come down and that is going to go back up. Both of those happen. So now we have to have the confirmation of the upside or a retest of the low before they go. So what would a retest of the low look like? It drop, it makes a flag, we're going to sell. And we'll try to keep that sell to the bottom. But if we get a consolidation above it, maybe even go up a little more, then make a consolidation here, that becomes a buy. And that might be a buy that is going to literally start a daily uptrend, which means everything is turning. Dollar index, gold, silver, Aussie, everything will be turning. Very likely so. So we'll keep our eyes on this, and Monday we'll know. You wouldn't actually know until maybe by Tuesday. This is the only one. If you follow my webinar last week, I told you this is only upside. Think of only buying the pound. You should always think of only buying the pound. And the reason for that is this. We retested this low. So I'm going to give you a little story if you've never heard it before. And if you're following me for the last couple of years, you've heard this story before. But if you're just starting to follow me or you just saw my video, you've never heard this story. When the pound was at the top there, I forecast the drop to come and break this low. So I had an arrow that looked like this, and then I said it might go back up. Coming to break this low and then go back up. And there was a very good friend of mine in Moscow who works in audit, and he knew this guy from America who was a hedge fund, kind of a hedge fund manager, but his job in Moscow was to open hedge fund for people in Moscow who wanted it. So he was working with a hedge fund, and then he went to Moscow and he started setting up hedge funds overseas for Russians who wanted hedge funds, basically. And I had dinner with him, and he was like, yes, what do you guys do? And, we were chatting, and I told him about this analysis I did. And I was like, well, Pong is going strong, but we have a very good forecast that says this thing will come and break down. He was like, no, that's crazy. That's never going to happen. I mean, literally, the guy's sitting there and telling me, no, he doesn't believe in all these technical analysis and wave analysis. He is a fundamental guy, and there's no fundamental reason why Pong should get weak, because the euro was in mess and the US was in mess. So Pong was going to go strong at this point. Pong was moving really strong, and it's going to remain strong. I had pretty much been early in my career, so there's no point I'm going to argue with a hedge fund manager. And I said, okay, we'll see. How wrong was I? I only thought they would break this low. They actually broke this low. Here is another thing I'm going to tell you. Very likely we could retest this top. Now, please don't show this to any hedge fund people. They're literally going to tell you you're an idiot. And they will tell me I'm pretty much crazy. But you can take a snapshot of it and keep it for the next 5-10 years. You never know what's going to happen. And then you can go and show them, right? I actually have this forecast on my Facebook page. I think I will update it very soon on one of my on my ProWave page. It's on my personal Facebook page. I'll update it on my ProWave page so you can take a look at it. Now, I'm telling you, there's a very, very high probability this thing is going to go back and retest that up. Not really fast. It's not going to go in one straight line. It's not going to go fast. This up move took how many years? It started somewhere here, that is in 84, and it reaches the top there somewhere in 90. So a good 6 years, a good 5, 6, 7 years before it gets to the top there. But it's going. And on the 1 hour, we have this structure. We had a running flat, which we think, remember, we forecast that to come here, make a running flat, and then go back up. Now we're above the running flat. And here is where it becomes difficult. They would either continue to go, or they can stay in this channel pattern for a while. So I believe if dollar index is to go up and euro is to come down, gold, silver is going to go down back once more. Pound would probably just go sideways. It's not going to go down, but it's going to go sideways, downwards, but sideways rather than up. Pound would most likely be doing things like this. So it will be downwards, but not impulsively downwards. Now, that's just what I believe from my experience. I don't know that to be true, but I really believe that once you break this low, from my experience, you're totally going to go up. So you want to focus on a lot of the pound pairs as well. Aussie. I showed you this pattern. If you follow me in the daily, you saw this pattern. I spoke about it many times, that this is a correction. This is your impulse, and eventually you're going to do this. Now, at one point, we thought this was it, right? I told you, I said, as soon as we get a correction here, we're going to confirm that to the upside. If not, we're coming back to retest this low. We did retest the low, and I'm going to say the same thing here, because you do not tell the chart what to do. You look what the chart is doing, and then you make your forecast based on what you have. So the forecast we have right now is that this is very, very corrective. Again, I'll show you the same type of patterns I showed you previously in the other ones. If you see this looking like this, and if you see this one looking like that, and you see this one looking like this, the probability of this coming down back is really, really strong. Right? Doesn't matter that it go to the top, because if you look at this one actually did make a very sharp move here. See the sharp move from here to there? That was a really sharp move here. See this? And they still drop. So making a sharp move like this doesn't mean it can't drop. It means if you're going to confirm the upside, break out of that structure, make a consolidation here, and then we'll confirm upside. Otherwise to that, there's a high probability of it retesting the low and then going back up. It will go back up. That's the basic thing. It's a correction that will make an impulse. The only thing is I don't think this is the start of the correction. I could be wrong about it, but I don't know that. I have not seen the impulses start with so big correction here and so much correction here. This is rare. It's not impossible, but it's rare. So confirm it with a pullback here. And if we get this, we're buying up. If it drops and then make a flag, we're selling to retest the low. So which one is it going to be? Again, we do this 5 times a day. So we'll literally see it happen. And we will know what to do. I can't give you now for the week ahead or for a month ahead what it's going to do. But I can tell you if you follow us, we'll do it together. New Zealand. This one actually is trying to break out even of that structure that we have there. This one came all the way back to the bottom. See this? That was the sharp move. They came back all the way to the bottom. Can we break that low and go back up? Absolutely. Absolutely no problem with that. It can break the low and go right back up. So we haven't broken the low. The question is, will it break the low and go back up? And that is what we don't know. But in terms of pattern, that pretty much looks corrective. Look at this one. Look at this one. You can also look at this one and look at this. These are the sharp moves down. These are the sharp moves down, right? These are the sharp moves down. Look at the correction. Where you're looking at time and price. When price and time do this, that's more corrective. So the probability of this coming back here is pretty high. If we're going to continue to go up, again, I want to see probably this would go up a little more, but then you want to see that correction here. That confirms the upside. Most likely because it's going up so slow, you would want to see a deeper correction like this to confirm the upside. Because any small correction will only confirm that we are continuing into this channel. That looks very corrective. See? So which is it going to be? Well, I don't know that it's breaking out as yet. If it breaks out, no problem, we'll be trading it. Doesn't matter which side does it go, right? But because it's so corrective, you can see how many flats they have in here. The probability of this coming back at any point, just dropping here, making a flag would be pretty easy. And that should not surprise you or me, right? Because we watch the patterns and see what, if it consolidates above there, great, we'll be all buy. That consolidation will have to be about 2 or 3 days before you get a buy setup. If you're buying in a very, very low time frame at the very top here, you have to be really, really, really careful. Right. Swiss dropped a little more than I expected because we were looking at a possible flat with this one and then it dropped. Okay, no problem. It even dropped a little deeper than I expected because then I was looking for the exclusion of this flat and they exclude that flat too. So we went back with what we had originally hit, this one. This didn't break the top, it tagged it, but it didn't break it. And that I was looking for a breakout completely. So no problem. We come back and we said, okay, well, if it's dropping, what are we looking at? Right. If you go back, I think I did the Swiss and the yearly ones. I did a long-term analysis in the Swiss and I said, you know, the way this is going up, there's a high probability we're going to come back and retest this low. And all of this here will be some kind of a bigger corrective structure for upside. And all of that will be some kind of a huge corrective structure that will actually go back and retest the top. Right? We have a move into it. We got all this correction. We get a move there, but then we have a move down. So we might even come back here before we go. All of this could be one huge corrective structure. and Swiss would come back down. So if that is a long-term plan, that's really long-term. What we need to do now is prove that this is actually going to drop. Because if you look at this, if you put a line here and you see that this is pretty flat, we did break the top twice, but could it still break the top here and come back there? Well, that would be a running or an expanding flat, depending on if we break this low. If we break that low and we go back up, it will be just be some kind of an expanding flat, some version of a flat that we'll look at eventually. Right now, I don't think this one is doing that because I'm putting this as a separate flat of its own. Like 1, 2, 3, and this is like the final move up. So if this is reversing, and this might be the sign that we're reversing, Pound, Swiss, and Yen has three similar structures that are telling us that the dollar is already going to drop. But the Aussie, the New Zealand, and the Euro does not have that structure. They're looking very corrective. If this is the start of the drop, then yeah, any correction here would confirm downside. Any correction will be selling. Any reversal will buy as well. CAD, on the other hand, it doesn't have that downside feature as yet. It's very slow. It could go back down. Remember the CAD we showed you in the weekly? I did this earlier and I said this has 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This has 1, 2, 3. This was going to make 1, 2, 3 come here and then go back up. And then it just dropped and broke the low. And I updated it. And I said, well, the low is broken. So if we want to go up now, we can just go. Right? If the CAD wants to go up now, in terms of patterns criteria that we looked at, things that we said, okay, well, if it does this, this is what likely we're going to see, right? We've seen that. It broke the low. And when they break the low in a pattern like this, they tend to go back up. Now, could it still be that this is making, you see this big correction here is what I'm worried about. It's really big correction when you're trying to make an impulse to the upside, right? When you're seeing big corrections like this, you're not thinking impulsive. You're thinking, well, this thing is looking very corrective. So could this still be 1, 2, 3, and can it come back, retest the low, and then go? Just like this 1, 2, 3, or this 1, 2, 3. It's possible. It's not impossible. That could happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch this here as it develops, because this one looks more like a flat for upside, which means at the bottom here, if we get a buy setup, we'll go with the trade. Right now, you can see at the bottom. Remember that channel I showed you in the Euro coming down on the daily? If this stays in that channel, it could break to the upside. Now, breaking to the upside by itself doesn't mean anything. It's whether we break out of that structure, that means something. But if this drops out of this structure, let's say Monday morning, we drop out of that structure and we stay there and we start to consolidate, that could be the start of a bigger downside. That could confirm that CAD is actually going to drop much, much more. Although we have this flat and we have a really deep pullback here. So which is it? Remember when you had that deep pullback here, you were actually breaking out of the down move. And what was the thought process? Well, this thing could literally go to heaven. And if you were with me or you were listening to me, I would say, well, let it prove it can go to heaven by making a flat. Because if it doesn't do this, it will do this. Impulse, flag, we sell. And guess what? We sold it. Right? The same thing here. Breaking out of the low doesn't mean anything. This by itself dropping here doesn't mean anything. Because it can do this, and we will buy, just like we sold this. Or it drops out of that structure, consolidate here, and then we sell. It has to come out of the channel. We're not trading it in that channel. The space is too tight. You wouldn't get risk to reward. You wouldn't even get a trade. It's crazy trying to trade in that. Yen. Well, yen is the most interesting one. I kept it for the last because I think you should really enjoy this one. This one is fun. I think most of you remember when I made my first forecast on this for the upside. Go back, watch it. It's there. I would encourage you to go read the comment. When I said this has an impulse, this is a correction. We're going to make one more impulse and we're going to break this stop. That was all I forecast, breaking this stop, nothing more. And one fella decided he's going to stop trading if that ever happened. Well, it happened twice what I said. So not only should you stop trading, you should literally don't look at any charts ever again. Because even I was wrong about how high it's going to go. And you didn't even believe it was going to go there. See, that's the amazing thing about wave analysis. You don't know how high it's going to go, but you know the minimum criteria, right? So I also said that at some point this has to stop and it has to come back down, very similar to this. Now, because it is so big, I'm not sure this is going to come back. I think they can drop much, much more than that. Right? There's a possibility that there is some kind of a contracting flat in here that I am missing. That's okay. I still can't find it. So I would go with the fact that they're only going to do this. I'm going to go with, if they do come down, they're literally going to just do this and go right back up. Maybe a little bit longer and then go right back up. So on the daily, in my group, we've already decided since last week that this thing is going to drop. Take all the sells you get. And actually, we sold it during the news because we're looking for sells on this. Once we get that drop and we make this flat, we're only looking for sells. Any sell opportunity, we take. So now that it is dropped like this, is there a chance it can retest the top? And if you look back on the chart, there's one single sharp move here. We never actually got anything to fit it with. Now, you can make an argument that this is an expanding flat, and I'll give you that. That's probably true. If that is true, this is the downside. But what if that is not true? What if that doesn't belong? This one doesn't belong to this, and it's actually something in here or something in here or so, right? What if it's something else? Then there's a good chance that this two could be together for a running flat. And we might go back up. So you will say to me, you just said this thing is going to drop. Why are you saying it might go back up? Well, it's pretty easy. It doesn't matter what I say. And it really doesn't matter even to me what it does. I'm trying to figure out the possibilities. And then I say to myself, okay, well, if it's going to go up, how would I trade it up? Pretty simple. That's what we get you to do live in the trading room. If it is going to go back up, wait for an impulse, wait for a flag, confirm you're actually looking at a flag and not a correction for downside, which means it's not making a flat in this range, but it's making a flag for upside. Let me repeat that because this is where most traders get trouble. Make sure this is a flag for upside and not the flat comes here. Go back there, make this flat and drop. Because if it makes a flat like that, we will be selling. But if it only makes an impulse and a flag, we will be buying. And this is where you got totally confused. This is where you say, well, I have no idea what you're saying there. Remember I showed you the flag in the previous one? Same thing. Reverse makes a flag here. We're going to be buying that. And we might buy it to even retest that top. Can it make 1, 2, 3, come back here like this? Make 1, 2, 3, and then drop? Would you tell the difference, or would you know how to exit that trade if it does what I just showed you instead of this big move up? In any case, we will take that buy. In both situations, we will take that buy. The problem with that is that you would have to know when to exit and how to exit if it's not going. And that is where trade management comes in, where you do not have, if you're not a wave analysis trader with very good expertise and a lot of experience, would not have the knowledge to know that, hey, now it's time to exit. And we actually showed you how we do that live in the trading room. Hey, exit this trade, it's not going. Get out of the trade, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to do X, Y, Z. We don't give up on it going up. We'll still have an entry in case it goes up. So we'll still be saying, well, if it goes up, what should we do? And we will have specific rules what to do. You follow us, you're going to like it. So I'm inviting all of you to join us. Send me a Skype message. The Skype is in the description. If you like what you see, if you want to at least see how we do it more live, why not join for a month? I mean, you're going to pay $100 to have, how much again? 5, 2, 10, 10, 4, 40 sessions. You're going to have 40 live sessions for $100. That's about $2 a session. 2 something. 2 with a few cents. How much is a cup of coffee? I think it's more than $2. A good cup of coffee is going to cost you about $10 maybe, right? So you're going to have less than a cup of coffee for a live 1-hour session where you actually get insights into good trading. Why not try it? You might not like it and don't join us anymore. But when you try it, then you will know. Until you try it, you wouldn't know. So make your mind up. Join us. Send me a Skype message and you'll be with us next week. By the way, next week we're starting the training sessions. I think I told you at the start, I'll remind you. If you want to join a group, if you've been following me for a long time, you've been deciding whether you want to join the group, it's better to join it now. Because some traders who join now regret they didn't join 4 years ago. And these are messages that I've come in, where a trader who is in the group now said, man, I wish I'd done this 4 years ago. I was following you all the time. I just couldn't make up the mind. I thought I'll do it on my own. I thought I could manage this. I thought I'm going to buy a $500 course similar to yours and it's going to help me. And none of those help. But now because he's in the group and he sees what he's getting and what we're doing, he regret not doing it 4 years ago. You don't have to wait 4 years to regret. Because this is the only group where you actually get it. 5 live trading sessions a day, where we actually trade and where you get to ask all the questions you want. Because all my sessions will start with, do you have any questions? Are you in any trades you want me to look at? And all the sessions will end with, anything else you guys want me to look at? Any questions you have? Most gurus out there, when you're in trouble and you ask them for help, you don't even get an answer from them. That's how some people join my group, because those gurus refuse to answer them. And then they turn for help, and I will help you, whether you're in my group or not. Anybody who send me a message today, I'm in this trouble and I need help, I don't ask them if they're in my group. I said, okay, show me your charts. Let's talk about it. What trades you're in? Where's your entry? Where's your stop? What are you doing? How much risk you have open? What do I think the trade is going to do? And I'll send you my forecast on what I think it's going to do and what you can do to minimize risk, even if it doesn't do what I do. What I say, what I forecast. So I try to give you maximum help I possibly can give you, because this is all about helping traders. Have a great weekend. Trade with care. Make sure you keep good money management. It's better to have your capital intact to trade the next day than to lose your capital and you can't trade the next day. All right, so give up the trades, not the capital. Thank you. Goodbye.